Tell me about yourself. What's your name? How old are you? Where do you live? And, kind of where were you born?
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, my name is Ryan Fisher. I go to Taipei American School. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior in high school. I grew up in China. So I was born in Alexandria, Virginia. And when I was 4 years old, because my parents decided to become international teachers, they moved to Shanghai American School, where I lived for 6 years. And then after that, we moved to an American school in Peru, in South America, where I lived for 2 years and I learned Spanish. And then after that, we decided Peru was not ideal or very safe, and we moved to Taiwan, and I've been here this is my 6th year.
Oh, yeah. That's very cool. So I'm guessing, multiple languages. So, English, Spanish, Mandarin, and even the Taiwanese, as you just said. So then, I guess, can you elaborate on these experiences that you had? Any particular moments you remember in China or cultural distinctions you can point out? Or things like that.
Yeah, I think it was interesting growing up in Shanghai, China. A lot of times my parents would be at work and they'd be teaching, working with kids. It's a very rigorous job. So most of the time it was usually my ayi that was raising me. And she raised me and my brother essentially like their sons. So I go to the yesu with her, or 我们就出去吃饭在那个上海的餐厅, right? So every day I was essentially raised and conditioned to be a Chinese boy. But I kind of had a rude awakening in China that I was not Chinese at all. But I think that through that lived experience of being essentially quote unquote Chinese, I had a lot of different experiences that a lot of Black kids that grew up in the States would never say that they had.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a fond memory I had.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I guess I've never, obviously I can't relate to that specifically as to you, but always wondered I've read that in America, race is kind of social, but in Asia, it's more about just perceived differences and from the eyes. And you could you elaborate on that, your experience with that, or do you agree with that, or things like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in America, I think race is a big issue, but I do think that when I've lived in Asia, I think that it's all about perception, right? And I think that a lot of people, similarly in America, but America's a lot bigger. Living in Taiwan, it's very small. It's a very tight-knit community, and they haven't had a multitude of experiences. They haven't seen many different people. So I think that it's less about, race here and more about ignorance, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So the lack of exposure, as I've seen somewhere. Okay, well, I think that's really cool. And I guess as of right now, a big question I've always wondered was do you consider what identity-wise, what do you consider yourself as? What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. I think a lot of people ask that because they hear where I'm from, and the reason my page is called TCK Baseball is Third Culture Kid. That's what it stands for. So I identify obviously with the African American community in America. But there's also a part of me that identifies with the Asian community in China and Taiwan. And a part of me associates with the Latin American community. So I'm kind of embracing all of these cultures. And I'm just saying that I'm Ryan, right? Yeah. I'm presented as an African American male, but I have this multitude of cultures that, are part of my identity as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very interesting to hear that. I guess also, again, the reason I found out about you was because of baseball. Could you talk, did you play baseball in China, or tell me about your experience with baseball?
Yeah, so I've been playing baseball since I was 18 months. I've been playing baseball my whole life. It's tough. My father, he played at Howard University, a historically Black college. Yeah. He was a walk-on there, and he made the team. And he always was pushing me to be great, and his favorite saying was, oh God, what was it? He has so many. Talent beats anything, but hard work beats everything. And I think that it's very important for me to understand that I come from a very hard-working family. My mom, she went to UPenn, and at that time, a Black woman to go to UPenn was unheard of, right? And my grandparents were fighting so many barriers, so I think that I come from a very hard-working background, and that translates to how I play on the baseball field. Right, I think that when I play, I give 110%. And I think that from a very young age, I understood that I have to work twice as hard to get half as much. right? So I think that my love for baseball comes from a very gritty and hardworking place in my family.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I used to play baseball pretty competitively. I think that part of why I liked baseball is because, if you really did work hard, I think baseball is one of the few sports that, talent isn't that important, right? You see, like, people like Jose Altuve being able to be all that, like, when he's, 5'4", who knows? But I thought it was that's a good saying. Talent beats anything, but hard work beats everything. I like that. So I guess, like, something I'm wondering is China, is there baseball to play in China?
Yeah, so I was in an American school, so it was very American. Like, it was very different than TAS, Taipei American School. SAS was super American. So I lived in a gated community. So essentially it was like all the American families or the Chinese American families were there. So I kind of had the American baseball experience there.
Right.
So I just kind of grew up playing American style. And then when I went to Peru, that was a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
Right. So I was 11 years old and I was playing with the 16-year-old team. Oh. Right. So I was playing up with the older guys. It was a very different experience.
Yeah.
Latin American baseball is super competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I know.
That was when I realized, like, there's levels to this.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing with Taiwanese baseball, but I'm an 11-year-old playing with 16, 17-year-olds. Right. That's a big difference. So when I got to Taiwan, right, they had to get to my level. Right. And I'm not saying that out of ego or spite.
Yeah, of course.
It was just the experiences that I had when I was younger.
Yeah. And I trust that Taipei American School specifically probably doesn't have the most spectacular baseball team. So you probably stand out quite a bit there.
I would say that over the years it's evolved a lot, actually. I think that when I first got here, it was not very strong at all. Right. But we have pitchers that are throwing in the 80s now.
Oh, right, nice. That's good. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the evolution of the baseball program, I give credit to the coaches, the staff, the trainers. We've been really working hard to play baseball and represent Taiwan.
Yeah.
Right. I think we were trying to play TAS baseball, but at the end of the day, we're a Taiwanese team.
That's true.
And Taiwanese baseball is no joke. Right. Like, when I come back after college, I'm going to try and compete professionally in Taiwan. Oh. Okay. So. Yeah, that's
tough. I mean, I think, like, a question I also have is, like, do you notice any, like, the cultural differences between American baseball and Taiwanese baseball? Like, I know here in America, travel ball is, like, very big. In Taiwan, it's all school ball, and, like, people have to go to baseball school, things like that.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was definitely a culture shock, understanding the degree in which they practice. Right? I think that the biggest issue in America in their baseball is fundamentals. I think Taiwan, they are obsessed with that. I mean, I went to a Taiwanese practice one time, and I fielded like 150 ground balls in a row. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And a bit in baseball in America, it's very different. It's all about your swag and how you play on the field. You're playing 6 games a week. It's more about a quote that a Taiwanese actor would say was 10 years off stage, 1 minute on stage. And obviously he's talking about acting. But it's showing the priorities of the practice, and then the result is for one game, right? So I think that was something that was kind of a culture shock for me. And I remember one day, it was Sunday, and usually Sunday practices are, kind of light. It's like after church. Yeah. Here, it's 5-hour practice. Oh. And that was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah. And the Taiwan heat too, I can imagine.
Oh my gosh, it was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, personally, there's anime and manga out there called Diamond No Ace. Don't know if you've seen that. You should probably watch it if not. I definitely, like, because my dad always grew up telling me stories about, like, there's, like, this school called 士林国小还是什么的, like, in their baseball, and like, how they, like, go to school and wake up at 6 a.m., run 10 miles or whatever, and then eat, like, 5 bowls of rice, whatever. And then I saw the anime, and I was like, whoa, this is reality. And, they practice so much just for, like, 5 games in a season.
平常他们不会念书啊，他们就会一直打球。对，所以他们从早上到晚上，他们就会练球。所以早上到中午他们就会手背，对，看中午到晚上他们就会打击。Yeah. So I just thought it was super, like, rigorous, and I just felt like if it's at the collegiate level, I understand you're an adult, right? And that's what you're trying to make a career off of. Yeah. Right. But I mean, there are kids that are in 3rd and 4th grade that are just going through this all day, every day. So that was definitely
I guess like
mind-boggling.
This is quite shocking, even to me, right? Have you learned to, appreciate it, or do you think it's a good method to approach baseball as an activity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've grown over the years to appreciate it. I think that my work ethic is exponentially higher than a lot of American players. I think that they don't have an appreciation for their craft, for what goes into everything. I think that culturally what we do different is we thank everybody, right? Yeah. Like African, 谢谢教练,谢谢队长, 谢谢球场, right? We thank everything because we have an appreciation for every element that goes into this beloved game that we have. It's not just like our performance on the field. It's the bases, the groundskeepers, it's the janitors, it's the staff, it's the coaches, the other team, right? We thank everything because we appreciate every element of the game that makes it easy for us to enjoy playing on the field and having a game.
Yeah, that's something I really did notice, right? I think like even you can look at the Asian American ball players here, like Shohei Ohtani. When he eats seeds, he spits them into a cup, and like people here, like they just spit around the cages, and it's kind of nasty. But like I think that in Asian culture, something great that I think all ball players should like learn about is treat the game like and thank Mother Nature or whatever. I think that's what my dad says. Treat the game and then they'll treat you back. Things like that. Maybe less funny hops at you, or who knows. But yeah, I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think just a final thing. Like I think baseball is one of the very few sports that everything that you put in, you'll get back in the game. And even if you don't, you keep putting in more. So I think that through that, I have a little bit more of an appreciation for the game because it's a failure game. Right? You fail 7 times out of 10, you're an all-star, Hall of Fame kind of hitter.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned earlier that you wanted to come back to try to play pro ball. Have you ever thought about, playing for the Taiwanese national team?
Yeah, I think that my fear with playing for the national team is I'll have to serve in the military. Right? Yeah, and I think that I could play professionally and be counted as a Taiwanese player. So my thought process is I'm obviously, after college, I'm going to try and get drafted, right? Not for Taiwan, but for the MLB. That's my dream.
Awesome.
If that doesn't happen, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do another year of college in Taiwan. I'm going to do a Taiwan baseball college, and I will be considered a Taiwanese player. And then I can go and get drafted for a Taiwanese team.
That's cool. So are you committed to college for baseball?
Yeah, Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas.
Congrats. Yeah, nice. Well, so wait, I never got to ask you, what position do you play?
Yeah, I play third base, and I play the corner outfield. I play left and right field.
So I presume you have a strong arm then.
Yeah.
That is something I think that, a lot of Taiwanese players probably lack. They have all the fundamentals, but sometimes, talent gets you, wins you anything, as your dad says.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sounds cool. Then I guess throughout this journey of playing baseball, I think I can relate to it. Sometimes the grind can get a bit lonely. Maybe especially since you said you started playing when you're 18 months old, and all the way until now you've moved many different countries. So through this grind, were there any experiences that you learned that kind of empowered you through, regardless of culture, more specific to you as yourself?
I think that baseball is a very lonely sport, and I think that I realized that early on. When you're playing t-ball, you're with your friends, you're with your buddies, your coaches are there, but everything you do in baseball is by yourself. Whether it's in the batter's box, on the pitcher's mound, whether you're fielding, all of that you're by yourself. And I have had some battles with training by myself, right? I've been through summers where, I didn't hit very well, right? And it can become very lonely. But I think through that, I've learned grit, I've learned hard work, I've learned one of my top traits is resilience, right? And being resilient is something that is very hard to cultivate. It's something that I think that you're truly born with. And I think that me being resilient in this sport has taught me a lot of life skills, right? My dad would always say, it's not just baseball, it's life. You're learning life skills through sports. And I think that is something that I'm very grateful that the game of baseball has taught me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that you know, at the end of the day, sports, baseball, whatever, those are all important, but you know, it's the life applications and what you learn from the game that's more important. So then, I guess back to like the identity stuff, or actually, wait, no, back to baseball. Do Taiwanese coaches, you know, have you experienced any like prejudice or anything? Maybe good or bad prejudice. You have, or wait, hold on. Am I cutting out? I feel like I am.
Yeah, I think that they obviously will favor me a little bit. Okay. Yes, in a good way. Yeah, I feel like in a good way sometimes they're a little bit favored because they see my frame and they think I'm stronger. They'll think I'm faster. But I haven't really had any negative experiences on the field. I think that baseball is a very level playing field. And that's what I really appreciate. Obviously, I'll hear some, you know, remarks from away coaches, and they'll say some stuff, you know, there's stereotypical stuff, right? Like, why aren't you playing basketball? You know, stuff like that, right? But outside of that, it's been a very positive experience, right? And I think that they have, what I love about the Taiwanese is they have an appreciation and respect for the game that trumps all prejudice and racist remarks.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay, now finally back to the identity stuff. So then, I guess like, are there any in addition to the baseball community you found in Taiwan? Are there any other communities that you found in Taiwan that you know you don't think you could be able to find in America?
Like, could you give me an example? Like an example of like
sure.
A sports community? Or...
Yeah, sure. A sports community, or like, you know, just like things that are unique to Taiwan. For example, I don't know. I hear people go to karaoke a lot, or I don't know, like just like friend groups or whatever. That you know, like just cultural differences, if you will.
Yeah, I think boba is a big thing. Oh my gosh! I mean, you would. I see boba shops in the States, and I'm like offended, like how bad they are. Like boba is just, it's like life here.
Yeah. Right,
and that was the first thing they did. I remember the first baseball practice I had. As soon as it ended, they took me to a boba shop. It's called Come By.
Come By, what's it? Come By.
Yeah, that's like the shop to go to.
Yeah.
Right, and I went there and I got zhenzu nai cha, right, and I got 2 drinks. I got zhenzu nai cha, 加椰果尾糖制饼, and then I got 百香果的加椰果少糖制饼, right, and when I had that changed my life. I got like boba like every day for that whole year.
Yeah, and right? Hey, you can actually do that in Taiwan because you know it's not. I don't think it's that expensive. Dude, in America...
No, it's...
Oh, wait, what? Is it still expensive in Taiwan?
No. In America, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, America, like bro.
$10.
Yeah, $10. And in Taiwan, I went back this summer. Every day I had boba. Every single day. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Then what about, like, the convenience store stuff? Do you think, like, that could ever be achieved in America?
No, I don't think it'll ever be achieved. I think Texas has something called Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, Buc-ee's. We have that here too.
Yeah, I know about Buc-ee's. I mean, that's a nice convenience store. Nice. But it's kind of like a supermarket convenience store. But I mean, Taiwan, their convenience stores, you can pick up packages. I mean, like anything you think of, you can get in a convenience store, right? I mean, you can get fresh hot meals. Like I get Nuances, like fresh Nuances.
Yeah.
Right, and you'll get like a tea egg on the side. You get like a roll ball. You know,
and it's
yummy.
Pie.
It's incredible.
Yeah. You can't match that in the U.S., man. You can get like $30 NTD, which for reference about $1 US dollars for like what you can get. Maybe I think the Niolo Mian I had the cheapest was like 35 NTD. In America,
really?
Yeah, but it was like a long time ago when I was like 7. But in America, it would probably be like $16. So that's a 1-to-16 ratio. That's insane, and probably going to be better in Taiwan too. But yeah, what about like any other cultural differences that you wish that you've appreciated about Taiwan that you don't think you could find in America?
I think they have a super high. I think this is Asian culture. I think they have a high regard for elders. I think I really do appreciate that. They really do take care of elders, and I think that. Like when you greet people, you know, in America, it's like, what's up, you know, but here you bow, right? You're very like respectful, you know, the convenience store workers will be like, 欢迎光临来, you know, they'll be very welcoming.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think that the mannerisms are very different.
I agree. You ever find it, like, do you ever go up to a convenience store and then it's like, you know, spit out Chinese and they're very surprised, or it's not happen often?
Yeah, they're very shocked. I mean, in Taiwan, you see a lot of foreigners, like a lot of, lot of white foreigners. But it's very rare that you see a black guy that speaks Chinese.
Yeah. I remember, like, I went back last year, but the last time I went back before that was, like, before COVID. And the, like, amount of foreigners I saw when I went back, like, of course, including me, was, like, a lot higher. And I really like that for Taiwan. Then I guess, like, you know, sure, how about this? The classic question. What is your favorite Taiwanese dish?
Ooh. Oh, man. Okay, I think that it's up for debate because you can say it's like a Shandong dish, but I think cha sao rou is by far, like cha sao rou, by fan han gao li cai, like in one.
Oh, that's a good
is
combo.
The greatest thing I've ever had in my life. There's a fried rice place down the street from my house. Like literally, I take my bike and I get there in 30 seconds, and it is the greatest fried rice I've ever had in my life. Right, and you know, listen, it's gonna sound stereotypical. You know it's gonna be good when you see little kids working the counter.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
See little kids there, they're doing homework, they're on their iPad, they're taking my order.
Yep.
The family knows me. They call me Xiao Kli. Right? they know me. I come there every day. They're like family.
Awesome.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it's incredible.
I can imagine. It sounds good. You know, the cha sao lo. Yeah, it's very good. Is it like, I understand correctly, it's like the red one, right? Or is it the other one? Okay, it's the red one. Good. Yeah. You know, I always like it gets crispy when there's like the black and it's kind of burnt. Oh, that's also very good.
Sao rou. Yeah.
Then I guess, like, you know, another things I'm curious about is, like, you know, do you notice any, like, you know, what do you call it? Like, popular things, like, I don't know, Gen Z meta or whatever, in Taiwan and in the US. Like, in the US, I don't know what's popular right now, but, like, what is popular? I don't know. Like, things like
that.
Like
memes or something?
Yeah, sure. That's always, like, something like, every time I go back to Taiwan, I would ask my cousins, like, what's going on, like, in Taiwan for teenagers. It's hard to articulate. Still haven't figured out how, but...
No, I understand. There isn't really much going on that I know of.
Okay.
Regarding, like, you know, like, pop culture or anything. I do think, like, Mando pop is on the rise. I think that, like, Zhou Jailun, do you know who he is?
Yeah, Zhou Jailun, yeah, of course.
Like, I mean, that guy is, like, putting Taiwan on the map.
Yeah.
And I think Taiwanese basketball is also a huge thing now. A lot of people are watching Taiwanese basketball, you know. They have a lot of new import players, like foreign players that are coming. But I think Taiwanese basketball and Mando pop are definitely, like, becoming a thing to watch, as well as the Taiwan national team.
Yeah.
Like the 中华民国队.
Yu Zhang.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointed in him, but it's all good. Do you like Mando pop?
Yeah, I do.
That's cool.
I love Mando pop. I like Zhou Jailun. I like Rong Haolin. I like JJ Lin. I like all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely a big fan.
Li Ronghao, he's like the dark plum sauce guy, right? 乌梅子酱. Is that him? Oh, no?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with him.
Got you. Yeah, he's good. I guess, like, what other stuff do I have to ask? So I guess, like, you know, your very multifaceted background, has it influenced your career goals in any way? Or, you know, career aspirations?
I think that to some extent I was a little bit influenced by the Taiwanese culture. You know, like at first I was like, oh yeah, you know, maybe I want to be a doctor, maybe I want to be like a firefighter or a nurse, right? Very stereotypical stuff, but I mean that was the culture surrounding me, you know, and at first it was like influencing my decision in school. Like maybe I want to go to UCLA, USC, right, NYU. But the decision that went into my school was I saw that there were so many other kids from different ethnic backgrounds, and I think that was something that would bring me comfort while also making me feel like I'm outside of my bubble. Because I'm so accustomed to not being in the same place for a long period of time and moving. So I do think that to some extent it did have a little bit of influence on me, but I think that my parents did a great job of making me stick to our ethics and our morals within our house.
That's really smart. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm very proud of you for that. then I guess like, are you looking to return to Taiwan after your graduation years? I know you want to play pro ball, but in the case that not, would you ever consider returning to Taiwan?
I do think that I would consider coming back to Taiwan, actually. I do want to raise my kids in Taiwan, right? I see so many benefits in living in Taiwan, right? With the skills and the tool set that I have, I do think that I can make a fairly high-paying job.
That's awesome.
Right, I do think that I have very good grades. I'm very cultured, and I speak a lot of languages. I think that is, I'm set up for success.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I think that the benefit of living in Taiwan is it's safe, right? The school system is very helpful. And I do think that my coach will say, Taiwan 的棒球有比较机会, like a lot of more chances for you, right? The MLB, there are so many. I mean, there are so many levels that you got to get up to.
Trust me,
right? And it was a hard decision. I mean, for me, picking Trinity University, I was getting recruited to play in Taiwan.
Wow.
Right, I could have been already playing pro.
Wow.
Right, so it was a difficult decision, but I think my parents kind of put their foot down and said they wanted me to get an education because they say, God forbid you get injured. They always want me to have a plan B.
That's true.
So I think that was a decision I went into. But I had a scout for the Cincinnati Reds that was reaching out to me. That was recruiting Taiwanese players, and he said, I will put you in the best Taiwanese baseball school that we can find for you. Right, but the money wasn't there. So that is what went into
that's totally fair.
Me going to.
Oh yeah, I also had a question about like the baseball difference, cultural difference. I find that here, a lot of people lift so many weights, like go to the gym like every single day, bench like 2 times their body weight or whatever. Is that like, and I don't get that feeling in Taiwan. Do people go to the gym for baseball?
Like, are you talking about athletes specifically?
Yeah.
Or
like to lift.
Yeah, I think for athletes, a lot more mobility stuff. I think that they do that very well. I think that a lot of Asian athletes are extremely flexible, and their mobility is unearthly. I mean, it is unbelievable to see how flexible they are and how elastic their movements are. I think that was a big difference. I think they lift weights, but I think they run a lot more.
Yeah,
I mean, when I was training with the Taiwanese team, there's a lot of running, there's a lot of cardio, there's a lot of conditioning, because you're getting acclimated to your climate and your environment.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing 7 innings of like 35-degree weather. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
It's hot.
At all.
Very
Sorry.
hot. Yeah, no, it's hot. yeah. Got you. Oh, then you said you go back to the U.S. to play baseball quite often, right? Do you notice a lot of like competition differences?
I say that there is a noticeable difference in the velocity, but I mean, I wasn't like blown away. I think that I one of my skills is I'm very perseverant, and I adjust very quickly. Right, so I think like after my first at bat, I remember I faced like an LSU commit that was only like 96, 95.
Yeah. Right,
and for me, like at first I was like, oh my gosh, you're throwing 96, 95. And then the next at bat, I hit a line drive back up the middle.
Nice.
Right. I think that I understand like the skill set and the tool that I have and how I can use that to my advantage. If you understand what I'm saying.
I got you. Yeah. Okay, sure. That's cool. I think like that's enough about baseball. But then about school, how do you like TAS?
Yeah, I think TAS is a very good school.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the academic rigor is unbelievable. Right. I think that if more people went to TAS, they'd have an appreciation for what they get in their school.
Right.
My brother goes to public school in America. He goes to Capistrano Valley High School in Mission Viejo. And he used to go here, and he moved back for basketball. He's like this basketball phenom. I mean, that's the name of my brother.
Right.
He is just unbelievable. He's like 6'5", 185 pounds.
Oh, wow.
He's a point guard. I mean, he's just unreal. And he wasn't going to get what he wanted to get out of Taiwan basketball.
Of course,
so he went back to the States.
The competition is definitely, like,
right.
I know, like, Taiwanese hoopers, they can hoop, but, they're probably all, like, 5'8". So that's, at a certain point, they can't compete. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that he, like, as soon as he went out to the States, he was in all, like, the AP classes, the honors advanced classes.
It's probably light work, too.
And he's like, he's like a straight A student.
Yeah.
right? So I think that for him, it was definitely a relieving experience.
Yeah, I always thought about, like, what if, like, I had spent my middle school or elementary school to middle school years in Taiwan. Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I came back. I think everything would be so easy. I know there's a lot of Chinese students at my school who just, like, seem to have it very free. But yeah. Oh, do you know anything about task debates? I see a lot of task debaters here because I do debate. Is it a big thing?
Yeah. It is a very big thing. They love debate, MUN, and FRC. That's like the three things they love to do. Definitely FRC is number one. I mean, FRC, we go to San Francisco, we go to Hawaii, we go to New York. I mean, we travel.
Yeah.
Right? But I do think, like, debate is a big thing. Yeah, I remember we hosted debate, people from, like, Georgia, people from Texas, all sorts of different backgrounds. Yeah.
I was like, also, like, how rich are y'all, man? Like, what the hell? Dude, like, I think I spend a lot of money on debate. Like, I go out of town a lot, like, and then I see people from Taiwan there every weekend. It's like, they're dropping, like, what, $800 on flights every weekend? Hello?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is pretty surreal. I mean, I will say that I am well off. My parents have done a great job. My dad used to work for 3 or 4 jobs.
Wow.
In a day.
Yeah.
Right. So my parents, they went from minimum wage to being, let's just say, very comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But the comfortability that I have is like half of what my friends have. Like I have a buddy of mine. His parents don't even work. That's how much their grandparents made. They don't work. They golf and drink. Right. I mean, we're talking like $500,000 a year.
Wow.
Money.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there are people. I have a buddy of mine that he wears Chrome Hearts, a new Chrome Hearts, fit every day. Yeah. He has a personal driver. Everybody has a driver here.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Wow.
Right. I don't need one because I just walk down.
Yeah.
But people underestimate the money that is in Taiwan. There is a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of hidden money in Taiwan from the microchips.
Yeah, I trust.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
So they make a lot of money.
That's like some of the concerns I have, man. Like I go back and my cousins, they live in such a tiny apartment, and then their apartment in Taipei is like $2 million USD. Hello, like it's barely bigger than the size of my room, but it's like 2 times the cost of my house. Insane, but I think it's really cool.
And I think it has to do with like Taiwan doesn't have a lot of space.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Put it in the context, like Texas is like 4 times the size of Taiwan.
Texas is 4 size of the. I think we need to fact check that. It's definitely way bigger.
Let's fact check that.
Taiwan is like this small, and Texas is like this big. Georgia is 6, can have 6 Taiwans, and Texas is like 3 times. Yeah, wait here. I'll show you the.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wait. How many Taiwans can you fit in Texas?
I mean, Texas is huge. I mean, there is.
Let's see. Taiwan is only about 5.2% of the size of Texas, so you can fit 20 Taiwans in Texas.
That's
insane.
Listen, I thought it was 4.
And that's so insane.
I mean, Texas is huge.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas,
Yeah.
But man, Taiwan is just it's a small place.
Yeah,
so,
it is small.
Like a lot of people, like very few people can buy houses.
Yeah.
Like if you buy a house in Taiwan, you got money. Like I had a basketball teammate that had a house, a mansion.
Wow.
Like that is
true.
Like in the $20 million range, right?
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
You ever go to the countryside of Taiwan? Do you know? Yeah. And
yeah, we go to the countryside all the time for tournaments.
Awesome.
Like we go to Hualien. You know
Hualien? Yeah, Hualien. Yep.
Yeah, we go there all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Hualien baseball. I don't think I've heard of that. You watch any Taiwanese baseball?
Of course, yeah. I love watching Taiwanese baseball.
The brothers.
All my coaches play pro.
Oh wow, they play or played?
So played.
Oh, played. Okay, got you.
Yeah. So I had a coach that played for the brothers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 兄弟队.
Yeah, he played for a decade, and he won 3 Gold Gloves.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so he was an all-star caliber second baseman.
What's his name?
Lin Zixiang.
Oh, I don't think I know who he is then. but I'm pretty sure my dad would know.
Number 69.
All right, that's funny. All right. Okay, well then, I guess like another question. I'm sure like many Taiwanese people would want to ask like Taiwanese Americans specifically. It's like what is the one thing that you're most proud of about Taiwan as a nation or community, if you will?
Yeah, I think that I am extremely proud of Taiwan for standing their ground. I think that it's very easy to succumb to the pressures of the rest of the world, whether it's America, China, Russia, to tell them that they're not a sovereign state, that they're not a country. And I'm so proud of the Taiwanese people for staying bold and staying proud of their heritage and reminding each other every day that we are a country and they are proud and they're a very prideful nation. So I'm very proud of Taiwan.
That's awesome. So what do you think is like the cause of that?
I just think that to some extent it is ignorance, right? I think that not recognizing Taiwan as a country comes from
ignorance. No, I meant like the cause of like our patriotism, if you will.
Oh, sorry. I think the cause of patriotism is definitely because a lot of Taiwanese people Taiwan wasn't always as wealthy as it is now.
Yeah.
It most definitely was not like that.
Yeah.
It was a very small place. And when Chiang Kai-shek came here, it was like a temporary thing for them to come here and take over China.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that when they started to realize that people wanted to come to Taiwan and they started building it built a lot of perseverance and a lot of grit. And I think that you can see that in the people, how they conduct themselves in anything they do. So I think that was definitely a cause of that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, then we're about to finish, but any concluding thoughts you might have? Anything you want to share specifically that you haven't got to?
Yeah, I think that I do contribute a lot of my success to my faith in Jesus Christ. I think that I am a very strong Christian man. I think that I hold my faith very near and dear in my heart. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share my story with you. And it kind of caught me by surprise. I was like, who's Evan Lee reaching out to me?
Yeah.
Right? It was kind of like random. Because I get interviewed quite frequently, for my baseball.
I see.
I'm not saying that like out of ego or
no, don't worry.
Something that I'm used to, right? But I am very grateful for this opportunity to share my experiences. And I'd like to thank you for your time to list these questions and pick my brain and understand where I'm coming from. So I really appreciate that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I thank you for your time as well. Then the last thing, I promise. So the last thing we ask all of our interviewees is how would you name, or call your life story up until this point? If in a simple word or just a few, give us a title of your life story.
Give you a title, man. Let me think. I would say, for my book, I would name it "The Story Has Just Begun."
Oh, wait! This leads me into so many questions. What do you anticipate being the next chapter of your life?
I think the next chapter of my life is tackling American collegiate baseball. My favorite saying that I remind myself is, "I did not come to take part; I came to take over."
Wow.
I'm not here to be a participant. I'm here to be a leader, and I'm here to lead the pack. And that may sound corny and cringe to some.
It's all good. It's hard, man.
But that is truly my motto. I mean, I really want to take over the game, right? In all facets of life. So that's why I say the story has just begun.